Greetings, YouTube. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to look at something that I kind of experimented with here recently. And just full disclosure before we get started, please excuse my voice if it sounds weird. I'm dealing with a head cold and I'm a little bit under the weather, so I might sound a little bit nasally, but it is what it is. So, what you're looking at here is the JoyToy Lionel Johnson, which I have reviewed already. If you recall, I had the horrible experience with a bad QC issue with the right shoulder, which I jury-rigged so that it's serviceable. Love the figure, not happy about that QC issue. And then on the left here, we have a custom lion that I just put together today. Why did I do this? Let's talk about it. So last week I was on Instagram doing my usual, looking at people's posts, commenting, liking, doing the things I do. And I came across somebody who had shown a picture of a McFarlane Warhammer Space Marine next to a JoyToy. I want to say it was a JoyToy Terminator, maybe a Thousand Suns Terminator. And they were talking about how they also had a G.I. Joe Classified next to them as well. And they were talking about how they preferred the McFarlane version of the Warhammer because of the size. They could fit it in with their other toys, with their other 1/12 scale figures. The JoyToy stuff was just too small. And I, was looking at it and I get where they're coming from, but I disagreed with their, well, I'm not even gonna say I disagreed. I had a different opinion about the value between the McFarlane and the JoyToy, because as you guys all know, I'm a big JoyToy person when it comes to Warhammer. So we were talking about it back and forth, and they were saying how you pay double, maybe even triple for a JoyToy figure that you would pay for the McFarlane one, which is completely true. You can get a McFarlane Warhammer figure for 20 or so bucks. And they are, 1/12 or 1/10 scale, whatever they are. And they were talking about how they didn't like to pay that much for a smaller figure, and all the other different things fitting in with the scale and all that with their other figures. And I had commented that if McFarlane was pumping out Warhammer toys like how he does his DC toys, then yeah, I might be on that train too, because I do like 1/12 scale, 1/10 scale figures. But there was talk that McFarlane didn't do Warhammer anymore because it was so long in between releases. People were literally talking about that. So then, like recently, I want to say within the last month or so, there was another McFarlane news release that he was going to release like 4 or 5 more figures, maybe something like that. So over the course of 2 or 3 years, McFarlane's put out maybe 10 or 12 Warhammer figures. JoyToy puts out 10 or 12 figures each wave every couple of months. So especially with this particular line, with this property, 1 or 2 Space Marines ain't gonna cut it. 1 or 2 Tyranids, 1 or 2 Chaos Marines isn't going to cut it. I need legions. And that's what I put in my post. I was like, I'd be with you, but I need legions. Because it got me to thinking when I had this conversation that I bought Tyranids and I bought Orcs to work into my JoyToy stuff, because bigger Tyranids, bigger Orcs can still work in a 1/18 scale world. But I'd never gotten a Space Marine of McFarlane. So I was like, you know what, let me see if I can get one on the cheap, just so I can really compare it and really have a good sense of what's what. So I started looking around on Amazon, and I see they got a Dark Angel regular Space Marine for $17. I'm like, all right, I'll bite. Let me check that out. And when I started looking at them, I started thinking like, when I get this figure, I'm gonna open it, so I want to be able to use it. What am I gonna use it for? I can't make it a Space Marine with my JoyToy guys, but could I make a Primarch? Maybe even the Lion, since it's already a Dark Angels? So to say all that, I went ahead and did it. So I got me the $17 Dark Angel, and I'll put a picture of it up here. Just a regular run-of-the-mill Intercessor Space Marine. And I had this idea that if you watch my video when I reviewed the JoyToy line, I had put different head sculpts on them. Some of the ones that I got custom head sculpts. One of them looked completely like it was made to be the Lion, like a younger version of it. So I was trying to decide, what am I gonna do with this other head? Like, this really looks good. I'd like to use it for a Lion, but I already have the Lion. So I figured, you know what? I'll make a younger version of them. So when I make a custom, the beauty of making a custom is that you don't have to stick to established lore. You can base it on it, but take some artistic license, and that's kind of what I did. So let's have a look at him here. Got him here, and he is next to the JoyToy line. They're about the same size. Actually, the McFarlane figure is taller by itself, or as it's in its base form. My JoyToy one here, I have his drop-down hips extended so that they're pretty much the same size. I would say the JoyToy one is still probably a quarter to a half a head shorter. So let's have a look at my custom here. And I gave him some weapons from my Mythic Legions, basically. This shield is from the new Attila figure, Leoser. And then this Warhammer is also from him. He has a lion motif going with his armor, so it worked perfectly for the lion here. So let me take this off and see if he does not fall. This Warhammer is really cool. Like, is that not perfect for the lion? You gotta be kidding me. So there's that. Let's have a look at him. And I will say that these McFarlane figures are hefty. Like, this thing it's got some weight to it. So I made, let's start, where are we gonna start? Let's start with the accessories. The shield is also from Attila Leoser from the Mythic Legions. This is from their 2-pack that he came with, Gorgo, Aether Blade, and Gorgo, I think his last name is Eric, Aether Blade. That shield is from that pack as well. And then this sword is actually a JoyToy sword. This is from the Azrael figure. This is his sword, believe it or not, and it's literally taller than he is. But that's his sword, so it goes well with Primarch because it's way oversized. So there's that. Then let's see, as far as accessories go, I guess you could count the backpack as an accessory because it does come off. So this backpack or power pack is originally from this figure. So all I did was painted the color that I painted his armor. I'll put a picture up here. I guess I can do that now. I'll put a picture up here of what the figure looked like before I painted it. It was a dark green, but it wasn't dark enough. So I mixed together some paint, and I'll go ahead and show you what I mixed together. So I mixed together some paint, and I made Dark Angel green. And this is just a mixture of yellow, blue, a little bit of emerald, metallic green, and then some black and metallic black, just to get it. I wanted to get it as close as I could to that dark green that's on the JoyToy. So that's the paint that I mixed together. Back to the figure here. So there's his backpack. I did this little sword cut out of foam. This piece here is from a JoyToy figure. I forget which one, but it was a crown that was on someone's head. Let's look at his pauldrons. That's a good one. So this huge lion sculpture, I did not sculpt that. I am not that good at sculpting. That is a head from a figure. There's these old cat warrior figures. I forget what they're even called. I'll try to find a picture and put it up here. But I took one of their heads, and it's actually this guy's head. They came with two heads, one stoic, and then one with their mouth open. And I took the other one, shaved it down a little bit in the back so that it would kind of curve and contour to the shoulder pad, and I just stuck it on there with some super glue, and then used some other pieces parts to make the mane, and that's what we got here. The rest of that is what came with the figure, this little badge and everything. I painted the badge a different color, but most of this is already here. The tunic is created with just fabric from like Joann Fabrics. This little tassel here is from a Crown Royal bag, believe it or not. The belt is also fabric from Joann Fabrics, just some leather, like have it laying around here. But these are just leather kind of patches of fabric, and you can just cut it and do what you want with it. Let's see here, the other pauldron, that is all how it came beforehand. I just painted some more silver onto it. The emblem was silver, but the rest of it was just drab green. So I painted the outskirts and the edges and things. Painted that cross red, that was also just green. One of the things about the McFarlane figures, you get absolutely zero paint. I mean, there was pretty much nothing painted on this figure. I think the lenses of the helmet were painted, the silver parts were painted, and there wasn't that many silver parts. I mean, you had this, you had that, and I want to say that was it. I mean, there was no paint on this thing. Anything that had color on it, it was colored plastic. One of the reasons why they can charge you, $20 for it, because they're not doing a whole lot. Take another look here at the tunic. Let's go down to the bottom here. So there was paint on this knee, I'll give them that. They had the kind of like checkered pattern, that brownish yellowish color. Painted over that, put that sword emblem there, and then that Gothic #1. This banner, L. Johnson, I created that using the little circle pieces that come in my Mod Podge in the lids. They are excellent to take out of and use for things like this. I've been doing that for a while with my custom figures. Wrote that Lion L. Johnson banner based on this. So if I can get them in the same shot there, yeah. So just tried to get it as close as I could to that. Let's see, what else did I do? Talked about the belt already. Talked about that tassel. Talked about the pauldron. The head is from my guy, Camaro Dude, on eBay. Talked about him in my review of the original Lion. I think that might be it. I did add some purity seals to him, just for detail. But yeah. Custom Lion L. Johnson from a McFarlane figure. Now, as far as the McFarlane figures go, like I said, if you're getting one, if you're getting into it, do not expect the level of detail that JoyToy provides you. There's not barely any paint. I'm talking about barely any. You're not getting a whole lot of accessories. That dude has 2 hands, the ones that came with him. That's it. You don't get any extra hands. You do not get an extra head sculpt. Speaking of this, let's bring it in here too. So he did come with this head sculpt, which is good. This little thing I added, but the rest of this is stock. But that's all you get. You're not getting a head sculpt of a guy or anything like that, like a unmasked head. You just get this, and that's it. As far as weaponry goes, he did come with a chain sword, which that was red. I painted the blade cover green, same green as I did for his armor. So you do get this. You also get a plasma pistol, but I cut up the plasma pistol because I didn't want to use it, and I attached the handle to one of these big old JoyToy guns, and you might see my Mod Podge is still on there. I'm still letting it dry. I'm gonna have this as his assault rifle / huge gun, just because I wanted to. But other than that, yeah, that's all you get. So there is a trade-off. Like the money that JoyToy charges, look, I'm not about to sit up here and say it's cheap. It's not. I'm not even going to sit up here and say that it's decently priced. It's kind of expensive. I usually wait for stuff to go down in price before I buy like a bunch of stuff, unless it's somebody I really want right now. Like the primarchs, I'm paying full price for those because I want them right now. But like I'm waiting on the Martian Skitari dudes. I want them, but I don't need them right this second. I'm waiting on them, hoping for them to go down a little bit. The Horus Heresy Imperial Fist Terminators and the Terminator Squad and their intercessor / Battle Brothers and stuff. I do want them, but I'm kind of trying to wait to see if they go down a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But if you wait on JoyToy stuff, you can get a lot of it for cheaper than full price. The McFarlane stuff, yes, it's cheaper price-wise, but it's also cheaper in its quality. Again, if he was pumping out these like he was doing his DC stuff, I'd be game, because I could buy them cheap, I could customize them, I could paint them up so that they could be how I want them to be, and I could still work with that. But 3-4 figures a year, 5 figures a year, it's not enough. It just ain't. Not for this property. We need legions. So that's just me. So let me know what you think about my custom here. Like, comment, subscribe. Oh, you know what? One more thing before I let y'all go, just so that you know, because I don't have it in his hands now, but the Lion's original accessories, this shield, that sword, can fit in his hands. So you could take his stuff and give it to him if you really wanted to. Later.